Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Social Media Hangout. It's just going to be Andrew and I today, so Andrew, welcome again.
Hello.
And Andrew, we've got some topics for us, some things on the agenda. What do we got in store?
Well, we wanted to ask a few questions. We were starting a little late today, so we were asking in the comments page about, if anyone has any questions about social media, business, web, and a few of the first ones were really, how do you make your choices that you make? Whether it's choosing a social media platform, a professional to run your social media platforms, how do you know that the person is giving you good advice, that should you be on Facebook? Dustin, is this something that you come across daily, trying to deal with clients?
Yes, I come across it all the time. One of the most common questions that I get is, which platforms do I need to be on? Should I be on all of them? And we get a lot of, what do I say kind of stuff. So yeah, that question is probably one of the top, I would say top 3 questions that clients have. Where do I need to be?
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult decision. There's a few very good infographics that I'm going to have to find and share in the event page afterwards that do well at basically dividing up the different social networks into their core demographics, which if you're brand new to all of them, you should kind of lean for that data. Hello, Eric. And Eric's joining us.
Hello.
Hey, Eric.
But it is a complicated decision. You need to think about your own business as well. It's your own, or even if you're just promoting yourself, if you're an artist, if you're a singer, things like that, or even if you're a social media professional or trying to be, I guess this is one answer you should have already, but you need to figure out where your potential clients are, and if you already have started to build an audience, where are they already? If you have a client base, find out, maybe ask them, what are they using, what do they do? Bring a few of your clients in, for some discounted services and ask them if, they could answer these questions for you. It's make a trade for some information. That could definitely help you. And hi, Eric, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
I think we might have you blue boxed, possibly.
No.
No? That would just be my screen?
Yeah, no, what happens is you'll see the last screen. When you're talking, you might not see yourself.
Ah, okay.
It's weird.
You might see the last person. So, Dustin, say something, and then, Andrew, you do it.
Well, I'm going to say something right now.
Oh, see, so I've always been in the social media. Oh, see, now I still see Dustin. Okay, so now I've always been in the driver's seat. It's...
when you're not in the driver's seat, you only see everybody else. You never see yourself talking.
I feel like is that a more recent change? Because I have been in Hangouts as a participant before. I don't know. I feel like it's usually updated.
I think it's been that way for a while. I'm not sure.
So how long have you had this senility going on?
Just about the last month. We're halfway done our move. Still nothing seems done. I'm not in my office yet. I'm still in the middle of my living room because my office doesn't have internet. The Wi-Fi doesn't even reach through the walls, apparently, because we have concrete and steel walls. It's a very strong home, apparently. So we'll...
I confirm, just so we know, that the Hangout is live and people are able to view it. So yes. Thank you for confirming that. Carrie Ann, Lee, Gary, Kim, Scott, and Mark.
Yeah, we still have that lost episode.
The last time I ran the Hangout, nobody could see it. So glad to hear that you all are watching without issues. So Eric, I don't know if you heard the question as you came on. The question was, one of the biggest questions we find are, what social networks do we need to be on? When a client asks, is looking for social media services or management or even just consulting, one of the questions that Andrew and I get a lot is, which networks do I need to be on?
I'd say at least 50.
At least 50. Okay.
Yes, and you need to spend several hours a day on each of them.
Hashtag all the networks.
Yeah,
math works on that one.
So yes, that's my practical advice. No, actually, I'm really fond of telling people. I'm sure you guys already said something similar in the few minutes before I jumped on, but you got to find out where your audiences are, and then you got to pick your spots. Everybody has limited time, right? So you can't be everywhere, and there's different arguments for different networks. There's obviously good arguments for social media. I suspect the three of us believe that, and the people watching us, since we're on a Google Plus platform at the moment, probably believe that. But there are other social networks can do really great stuff for you too. If you've got time to do one.
I think it was actually, I remember pretty clearly, it was Stepan Hovnanian, who I think he recently, may have been over a month ago, but he wrote a post about how if your audience isn't on Google Plus, that's still no reason not to do it. He made a very valid and poignant argument for the fact that even if your audience is not here on Google Plus, guess what? Most of your audience is in Google searching for things, and your activity here on Google Plus is indexed and optimized for Google search. So even if your audience isn't specifically active in the social layer of Google, they are actively active in the search aspect of Google, which being active on Google Plus will help you with.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually just had a client I was talking with last weekend. He's a dermatologist, and in his area, I showed him the difference in his jaw drop when I showed him this. The difference between a Google search for him currently, as he calls his business for dermatology, which showed nothing on the right side of the screen. You have the branded results. Then I showed for the doctor whose office he was working out of, and she had the basic Google local set up. So it did have the little map, it had her business's name, and the address and phone number. Now I showed him the difference with that and someone on Google Plus actively posting from their business page and actively using reviews and everything, and showed them how they're dominating the local results. And then I showed him how other local businesses that he was competing with were not using it yet. And he goes, when can we sign up? Like, it's a no-brainer. If you are a local business with wide demographics, if you're a pizza place and you look on Google and see what the other pizza places are doing, if they're not on Google Plus yet, you have an amazing opportunity to shoot past them in the rankings. Just demolish them. It's for simple, just spend half-hour a day. It's all you need. Do it right before you go to bed. Just get on there. You don't need to pay. Well, please pay me for professional services. But if you can't afford it as a small business owner, this is something you could conceivably do yourself. You just need to put some extra time in the day. It's tough, but.
So Andrew, where do I pay you? Where do I send the checks?
PayPal to
Okay, I got to get out my credit card. Hang on. I'm going to be busy for the next couple of minutes. Okay, so bear with me. All right. So more seriously, though, I was talking to a client Friday. I almost said yesterday. The weekend is blurring together for me. Too much sun. And on Friday, and the conversation was, well, okay, their audience is a very general audience, right? So a broad consumer audience, and we spent some time fishing around looking for communities and things like that, and didn't necessarily find a lot of great places for them to jump in on that. But the point we made is, okay, if you actually start not only building your own audience, but also building relationships with other people on the platform, and they start interacting with you, and they start plus-oneing and sharing content that you're publishing, then you're getting those personalization benefits not only for your own audience, but for the audiences of all those other people who are plus-oneing and sharing your content. And that really can cause you to build a large reach very quickly, right? Without yet having to build up, Andrij Harasewych or Dustin Stout like following numbers, right?
But I've only done that in 2.5 years using only Google+.
Yeah.
And that's what really just stands out there is I learned everything I know thanks to you guys, thanks to Google+, thanks to the network and community. And what you were saying about pulling people together, that's what we've done here. with social media Hangout and the social media communities is, so let's say you're a local pizza establishment in Philadelphia. Talk to the other businesses that are using Google Plus in Philadelphia and start a Philadelphia community. Work together to obviously you might not want to work with the pizza place across the street. I understand that, but local surrounding area, there's business associations in the real world. We can make them online as well, and then you can extend that to the real world. This is the real world, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I thought it was a fantasy world, but I'm glad you clarified that for me.
Right.
But to be fair, I think other social media networks can do great things for you too, right? And it's just a matter of what makes sense. I did a hangout on air on Thursday with Peg Fitzpatrick and Rebecca Rodice on having Pinterest and Google Plus, having them work together, and there's some great advantages to doing that because the image formatting for both platforms is actually in perfect alignment, which makes it great, and they could really support each other well. So there's a lot of room to do that. But hey, if you can reach your audience through Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or whatever, more power to you. These are all great places to potentially do stuff. But you do have to manage your hours in your day, and it's far more important to be able to go deep on each of the networks with which you engage than it is to do kind of a crappy job at a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, I always give the analogy of it's much better to be I would rather be a mile deep and an inch wide than an inch or a mile wide and an inch deep, because I think I don't even think I have proof that going deeper on social networks rather than staying surface level is always more effective than going surface level on a lot of networks. People can tell. I mean, people can really tell if you're just phoning it in or if you're just, if you're surface level, if you're shallow engagement, shallow posting. You're wasting your time. You really are.
Well, this can lead into, the other question was, how do you choose a social media professional or agency? And I think one way we could lead into that is red flags. What are some red flags that you see in a pitch or on a site? And one major red flag for me is unsolicited emailing, which kind of leads into all the other promises. But one of the biggest is if they tell you that they're going to put you on all social networks, on everything. If they're going to list you everywhere in all directories, that's trouble. What do you guys think?
It's like, okay, even if you hire an agency to help you with this, you're still going to have limited resources. So you totally, it doesn't matter. Look, we work with at Stone Temple. We work with some of the world's largest brands, and everybody assumes they have unlimited resources. And I got to tell you, there's so much conversation about, well, we can't afford to do that. We don't have enough resource to do that. You don't ever actually escape that burden, you have to pick your spots. And if your agency is telling you don't, then I agree, that's a good red flag.
And if they're also telling you that they're putting links on social media, that's not what you want. You don't just want a link dropping service. You need someone who is going to build your community, who's going to build your audience base, develop trust and authority for your brand, and that involves knowing your brand. So if someone goes, send me $100 on PayPal and I will increase your audience, that's probably not the best guy to go to. Because he doesn't know your brand. He hasn't asked you a single question yet. He has no idea what to do. There is no way a social media professional knows what to do for your business if they have not asked you a question. Don't send them money yet.
Yeah. How can you build I guess you can build a following, and by following I mean the number of followers that you have. But what good is a following if they're not engaged or if they're not interested in your business? Like I can go to Fiverr right now and I can buy literally 5,000 Twitter followers. But what good is it going to do? I mean, those Twitter followers, they're not interested in what I have to say. They're not going to be buying any of my services. They're just a number. So, I mean, I had this conversation with a friend of mine today who's a fantastic indie artist. Him and his wife have a band, and they're getting started with their website, and he's asking me for some consultation. And he was asking these same sort of questions. And I said, his name's Louis. I said, Louis, what do you think is better, to have 10,000 followers who never act on anything you say, or to have 100 followers to where 25% of them act on everything you have to say? To me, I'd rather have 100 followers and have 25 people click on a link than to have 10,000 followers and have 4 people click on a link.
To be completely honest, I'd rather have 10 followers who are influential themselves follow every post I say.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly where it is. I mean,
it's a slow process because you're growing organically. You want to focus more on, 3 relationships rather than 50 followers. So I can go out there, I can spend an hour trying to get 50 people to follow me, or I can spend an hour with one person who has 50,000 followers and have them amplify my message.
Right. You also have your theory. There's I don't know the name of it. Maybe one of you guys do. That theoretical limit of the number of relationships you can have.
Yeah.
But right. So it's you have your personal, your family, relationships already. I mean, you have a limited number of people you could really submit most of your life to. We have limited time in the day. It's just not possible at higher numbers. And that's why when I see people when I see a professional following 40,000 people on Twitter, or that's a little bit ridiculous, but even 5 to 10,000, that's crazy to me. I granted I don't use Twitter a lot, so when I do go over there, it's like a whole it's a dangerous forest of information, but it just seems weird. Same with Google+. I don't follow 5,000 people on Google+. That seems kind of crazy to me. I understand building circles and building, a customer list, for example. That requires you to circle people, but I know others that say, oh, you should follow as many people as you can. Like, no, that doesn't seem right. There's not that much quality. I mean, sorry, people, but you have to look for what's interesting and what's going to help you.
I liken that to I call it the shotgun method, but not so much any old shotgun. It's more like you're putting a blindfold on, someone's giving you a shotgun and spinning you around 15 times and then saying, take a shot.
LinkedIn open networkers.
Yeah, no kidding. No, I know someone, by the way, who has 250,000 people that he's following.
So he's not following anyone.
Right.
I mean, once you follow everyone, you follow no one. That's
right.
Exactly.
Diminishing returns on followers.
Emphasize everything, and you emphasize nothing. But there are people that on Twitter you can create lists, just like you can create circles here on Google Plus, and only follow certain circles. You can only follow certain lists, and I can understand that. But when I see someone who has 250,000 followers, and then I look at how many people they're following, if that number is even remotely close, if it's really close in number, then to me I'm like instantly, it doesn't mean anything to me. They might as well have one follower.
Yeah. But some other red flags that were popping into my head. One being, if anyone says anything about getting on page 1 of Google, that is a guarantee that no one should be making ever because of personalized search, and it shows that they don't understand how search works anymore. It's not something they just input and all of a sudden you're number 1. They could get everyone to be number 1. I would be hiring them. And that's to get me on my SEO business to number 1. But
sure.
That's not true. So what are they just not going to do?
From my perspective, I love it when somebody says, "Hey, can you get us 10 page 1 rankings?" And sure.
Yeah, and it's fine. It comes from both sides.
What? Because
I can guarantee a page 1 ranking for an obscure phrase that I create. Sure.
Yeah. Right.
They should have an asterisk next to it. Yeah, for obscure keywords only.
Right. Obscure, no-value keywords that nobody cares about only.
Right. So, what were some of the other ones, Andrew? Was that?
As to questions, or you know if you're a scammer if you say...
Yeah, so you know if you're a scammer. Red flags.
What was... I had one and I lost it. Eric or Dustin have one while I try to remember?
Well, I mean, I got tons. Red flag, obviously, if they are sort of oblivious to internet etiquette and giving credit for imagery. That's sort of a big one. I see someone who's sharing beautiful photographs all day long without giving credit to the photographer or to the source in which they received it. Immediately, that's a red flag for me because, number one, they're not doing good in the eyes of Google, and as far as terms of service, it's a huge red flag. Copyright is a major issue for a lot of artists online. And if
one that I have is if they're not eating the dog food, so to speak, if they're like not using social media effectively for their own business,
right,
then that's a big one because you know what, you don't believe in this then if you're not doing it, right? And that's really crazy, and there's a lot of agencies that do that. Yeah. Mr. Fisher, how are you?
Hey. Fisher's joining the show.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Hey, Ben.
Perfect. But so I just wanted to say real quick, Eric, that was exactly the one I wanted to say. Do the research on the business, Google them, see if they have branded results themselves, see how their social media channels are. If they are promising that they can get your business social media interaction and they have zero interaction themselves, how you know, right, they're good at it, they're professionals, why aren't they doing it?
Right.
But yeah, it's you got to walk the walk yourself, or what is it, eat the dog food themselves?
Yeah, eat the dog food. And the thing is, I mean, like it shows that they believe in it when they do it for themselves, you know. If someone's trying to sell you something that they clearly don't believe in for themselves, man, that's as red a flag as Dustin's shirt.
Yep. And for the other half of our audience, because we have businesses as well as professionals who, you know, social media professionals who are in here. Gary Emmett Chandler was asking as well about you know, how do we find the time in the day, and I just God, I am going senile today. But he was asking about how we find the time in the day. Let me pull it up real quick. So yeah, what methods do you employ to maintain your own social media presence when client deadlines pile up and take precedence? So, you know, so for example, you were saying that, you know, what if the social media company doesn't have the same engagement? I understand that sometimes you as a professional, your own personal pages might suffer a bit as a result. You have priorities and deadlines you have to meet. You know, you can't make your newest blog post for your company, you know, for your personal company. That it's understandable. But you know, show that long-term, you know, commitment to to the platforms that you do use. Like Eric said, you know, show that you believe in it yourself. You know, even if it's once a month, just coming back on, you know, for an hour, it's getting back in, talking to your audience, and
sure. But I want to talk about 3 examples. So let's just talk about Wheel Media, Steady Demand, and Stone Temple Consulting, right? We're all people who are busy.
Those are 3 great examples.
They are fantastic examples, right? See, this guy right here that's currently in the screen, my screen, Ben Fisher, I know he agrees. And I know this guy, Dustin Stout, agrees, and I know this other guy, Andrij Harasewych, who agrees. If we had Kristoffer Howes, he'd probably agree too. Oh, and Mark Traphagen, another guy that would agree.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Never heard that name before.
Yeah, well, exactly. But the point is that if you're going to be good at it, really good at it, the notion of the cobbler's children have no shoes doesn't fly, right? It really doesn't. You really have to be committed, and you have to find a way to, you know, put some time aside. And yeah, it can be hard, right? But
and finding that time is extremely difficult and takes a lot of practice.
Yes, and the other thing you can do is just give up sleep. Yeah. And oh no, wait, that's not the official recommendation. Sorry.
One person I see doing that well is actually Jesse Wardillo. You know, he does services for a law firm, and you know, he does combine well keeping himself active as well as getting, his client stuff done for the law firm. Obviously, they might have a closer relationship than some client business relationships do, but there are ways of balancing that out and being able to promote yourself while also promoting the businesses you work for. So
I think that's a challenge.
I got to back up here, guys, really quick. I apologize so badly for being late to everybody. But so are we talking about balancing out the whole work, life, professional, and keeping up with your content marketing and your social profiles as well as your business profiles?
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay. Just want to make sure.
We just did a quick segue. We were actually talking about red flags with SEO professionals, and before that, we were talking about what kind of what social media channels should you choose and how you do choose it. Kind of a review of the going over your industry and clients and demographics. But now we're on this.
Awesome.
Do you have anything you'd like to add in?
Yeah, I mean, I could go on talking about this for a little while. I mean, it is tough. It's a real big challenge. I think the biggest thing that, if I have to give anybody advice, is that build a tribe, build an army, and build that tribe of people who are like-minded. And like for instance, what we did with State of Man is back in January, I started reaching a certain tipping point where I was trying to keep up every single day with my same momentum on Google+. That's where I focus my time on. And it was hard. And I had to make a conscious decision to actually dial it back and say, okay, I'm going to go back to what I recommend to people when they're starting out, which is 30 to 45 minutes a day. That's it. Maybe 15 to 20 in the morning, 15 to 20 in the afternoon. Because we're busy. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of people, and we've got a lot of clients. I mean, these are all high-quality problems to have. But at the same time, we do need to keep the momentum going, keep on talking. So in building that tribe, internally, we brought on, recently, of course, Dustin, we brought on Stepan, and they also help a lot with what we do, just like you did, Eric, when you brought on Mark. I mean, brilliant move was to bring on Mark. He lives, breathes, and eats it every single day.
We're still seeing if it's going to be a good idea to bring me on with Wheel Media, but we'll see.
I think do we want to actually take some bets on that?
Right? I don't know what the over/under is on that one.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, before we move on, I think it may be helpful because was it Kim Boltman that had that question?
I don't know.
Her question was, how do y'all balance your online time with real life, scheduled times, auto updates, I despise those, or just extreme self-control? Let me just give you a practical example. Maybe that'll be helpful of what I do on a daily basis. Have any of you guys heard of the Pomodoro technique? Blank stares. Pomodoro technique, to oversimplify it, it's you basically break your day up into 20-minute intervals. Every 20 minutes you take a break. So essentially that's what I do, is I break up my day into 15-minute intervals, actually. I feel that works better with my personal rhythm. And then every 15 minutes, I have whatever tasks I need to work on in that 15 minutes. I get as much done as possible. When that timer goes off, I have I have two options. I can either do some push-ups, which I do mostly, or I can go check my social media. And I only have 5 minutes to do all of that. So I can take a break, two options, and I do that. And I do that all day long, 15-minute intervals. And there's an old saying that says, whatever amount of time you have to do a thing, that's the amount of time it'll take to do it. So, that's kind of how I handle it, is 15 minutes, every 15 minutes I do either push-ups or a check. And I think there's a whole lot of value in scheduling and in the auto updates. Maybe not necessarily auto updates, but scheduling updates at a certain time. There's a lot of value in that because I do a lot of my content finding in the morning, and I don't want to post it all at once. So I'll find something that I really want to post, I'll write it up, and then I'll schedule it in either Buffer or Hootsuite or Sprout Social, one of those awesome programs that I'm currently testing out. But that's kind of how I handle it. I don't know if that's helpful to anyone else.
I really like that. I might have to try to use something similar to that. I'm trying for June to be my month of productivity. I'm finishing up this move. I have a new office almost ready to go. But I definitely, I need to up my productivity. Even for, this Hangout, for example, having the episodes where I set up the night before, I went on Hootsuite and I set up tweets that would say in the morning, hey, this afternoon we're having a Hangout, like come by and check it out. And then an hour before and 15 minutes before, and setting those all up beforehand saved me a heck of a lot of time that day. But sadly, I did not have a chance to do that today. But for future episodes, I'm definitely going to do that. It helps. And
that's really what the most effective people in the world understand: time management. And time management is about discipline. I mean, for me and people like you, Andrew, and you, Ben, and you, Eric, I'm sure social is a fun thing for us, and we could spend hours on it without really accomplishing anything. We could just be commenting, having conversations all day long. But for those of us who have a business to run, those of us who have tasks to accomplish, clients to please, and all sorts of things pulling at us, we need to be super disciplined with our time. And it could be as simple as saying every 15 minutes, this is what I'm going to do, or every 25 minutes, I only have 2 minutes to check this. But being consistent, finding a rhythm that works for you is also very helpful.
Right. My problem has always been the discipline aspect. Is I have the problem turning things off. You know me. You've seen me in an online argument. I do have problems turning it off. I'm playing a video game. I want to get to the next check. It's always that next checkpoint. I was playing Watch Dogs the other day, and I was like, I need to get back to work, but it's so good.
Oh, Andrew, don't even start talking about Watch Dogs.
So good.
Please don't talk about it. Don't even start it.
But yeah, it's tough finding that balance. I still try to game from time to time. I mean, I consider that kind of part of my personality too. I'm a gamer. I'm a nerd. I want to be at least a little inundated with pop culture. So I have to get in there from time to time. I have to make that time, and I sacrifice other things. I mean, comes into sometimes sacrifice.
Right, but that comes under the you're calling it sacrifice. It really comes under the heading of mental health, right? I mean, there's a reason why you have to check out some of the time, and so I don't use Pomodoro, Dustin, but I'm actually naturally quite disciplined, so I have a more unstructured approach. But and I have days where I come in and my calendar is just a solid block for the entire day, except one of those solid blocks is noon to 1, which I've just carved out permanently in my calendar. I schedule nothing. And every day I get up and I go to lunch. I drive, I get lunch. I just bring it back, but I'm out of the office for 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever it is. Right, and then I just do unstructured stuff, and I might use that to catch up on social media stuff or whatever. And I definitely do it in the morning, because it's kind of like I'm sitting there, I'm kind of half awake, and just sort of looking through things, and sort of getting caught up a little bit with it. If I have a day that's a little bit less busy, then I might. Take advantage of one of those other opportunities. I might not. I don't know. It just sort of depends. But But people have to do what works for them, right? And if I'm more of a, I have definite workaholic tendencies, so I don't really have to worry about whether or not I'm going to focus attention on it. I have to really structure things to focus attention away from it. So that's. More the thing I need to do.
Yeah, are there any tools that you guys use to kind of keep yourself on task? Because I don't know if you guys I'm sure you guys are like this too, but I'm a taskaholic, and I always feel like I'm behind. because I want to get so many things done during the day. And then there's the problem that arises that even though you're running through your tasks, you're checking things off, getting things done, and then all of a sudden there's a fire to put out over here, or there's another fire to put out over here, or there's that phone call that comes in from that client, and you know you're going to be on the phone for a half an hour to an hour no matter what you do. And that's okay, but it totally interrupts the whole flow of what you're into.
I mean, heck, if a website I work for right now went down, I would have to get off this call right now and go fix it. That's my responsibility. And it doesn't matter, you know. It does sometimes come in like, what if I'm fixing one problem and another? I still haven't had this happen. You know, what if 2 sites went down at the same time for entirely different reasons? It would have to be a priority call. Who's paying me more? I'm sorry, you know, or who has to bring in audience. Which audience is currently heavier or lighter? I mean, there's calls that you sometimes have to make, and I'm glad I haven't had to make one of these yet because, you know, it inevitably will upset someone. So it's tough. There's not enough time in the day, and that's really it. It's discipline. So thank you, Dustin, for that technique too. That's good.
Sure. Yeah, and Carrie Ann Foster kindly reminded me that I'm well overdue for a push-up session. Since we've been on the air now for over a half hour.
He just wants to see you doing some push-ups.
Oh, Dustin needs a break. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
Eric and Andrew, come on. You guys can join Challengely, come on. Join it.
Challengely, yeah. Challenge.ly. Go check it out. So talk amongst yourselves. The topic of discussion is Justin Bieber and his new album. Go.
Okay, yeah, that's going to work really well for me.
Interesting segue.
So, I'm sorry, who's Dustin Bieber? Oh, no, I actually do know that much, but that's about it. And I know that when he does haircuts, that people actually write about that like it's news. So I know that too. That's the limit. There we go. How many we do?
Okay. You're done? You talked? You're good?
Yeah, we did. I shared everything I knew about Justin Bieber during the time you were doing those push-ups.
All right, that was really
My ears are bleeding.
So what's next on the questions list, Andrew?
I am looking. Ryan J. Rhodes started in. This will probably take us through for a half hour. Ryan Rhodes started an online, and this is a question from Scott Scowcroft. Sorry, introducing it poorly. Saying that Ryan J. Rhodes, he started an online petition asking Google for a more user-friendly way to find and retrieve private messages. And he was wondering about our thoughts on this. And I just wanted to say real quick, I just switched to an Android phone. I merged my SMS and my Hangouts, and I could not be happier. If you know, it's actually much better on the Google ecosystem if you have a private message to send someone and you send them a Hangout message, a little private message on the right side. You click the little quotation mark, it opens up a little sidebar, or use the Hangout app on your phone and send them a message that way. I would believe it takes up less resources on Google's end, and they want us to use that. What's amazing about it is I can search all of my Hangout chats in Gmail. Every single one. So when I have that important conversation in the private messages, unlike Facebook, I can just go search for it. I don't have to use the text search and scroll up all the way on Facebook to get all the text visible. It's a process to find anything there. So it's if you use Hangout chat, everything is solved. You can search for it.
Yeah, but the only problem with that though is that there are certain people you might not be able to Hangout chat, depending on circle settings.
Right. Yes, I guess. And it involves, I guess, people having to set up their circle settings a little bit. I mean, it's tough. So if you do have a friend who doesn't do it, send them a normal SMS and say, hey, I use Google all the time. It's really easy for me to be able to send you a message, and try to get them using Hangout chat. And once they start using it, they will go, wait, I can share GIFs through you, and I can share videos and pictures, and from my phone I can just record a video and send it right to you on the Hangout chat app. They will start using it regularly. Anyone that I've showed it to uses it.
Here's how easy that is, Ben, because I've had that situation happen too. I have very strict settings on my Hangouts, to where, because I used to get all kinds of crazy Hangout messages from people. So I have very strict settings, and only certain circles are allowed to send me Hangout chats without me having to approve it first. So easiest way to do that, create a circle. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it leads, potential clients, contacts, air quotes, whatever you want to call it. Just name a circle of something of people who are contacting you through a private message and want to connect with you through the Hangouts chat. Then adjust your settings to include that circle to be allowed to contact you through Hangouts without having to have approval first. So my opinion, I made pretty clear on one of the shares. I think it was Wade Harmon's share of that post. And let me clarify. When I was new to Google+, that's something that I wanted too. I wanted a private message feature. I thought it was sorely needed. And I didn't have it. Obviously, we haven't had it for 3 years now. So what it instead forced me to do is to become more disciplined, again, with how I communicate with potential clients. Now, I have people sending me PMs and Hangouts 4 or 5 times a day. So I can't practically communicate with everyone over all these different ways. Now, how many inboxes do we really have? Okay, we have our email inbox. Okay, we have our Google Plus private message. We have Hangouts. We have Twitter. Someone can @mention you to communicate with you. Someone can send you a Twitter DM. We have Facebook. They can write on your wall. They can send you a Facebook message. Oh, and then we got WhatsApp. Somebody can send you a message through WhatsApp, and they can send you through Google Voice.
They could fax you.
They can Snapchat you. There are so many inboxes. If we just consider them all inboxes, whereas a place where a message comes in, there's no way we need another one. We do not. We just need a way. We just need to decide on a communication medium that works the most effectively. For me, it's email. So if somebody sends me a PM and they say, hey, Dustin, I'd like to talk to you about doing some design work or some branding work, or I'd like to talk to you about choreographing our next music video, whatever that is, I say, okay, you can either contact me through Hangouts, the Hangouts chat, or here's my email me there. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Now, the awesome guy, gosh, I forget his name, Ryan, what was his name, who started the petition again? Ryan. Hello, Andrew. Here's looking at you, kid.
Hey, Ryan J. Rhodes.
Ryan J. Rhodes. So his response was he tried that method, and out of all the people that he said to email him, only one of them actually did. Here's my response. They weren't actually interested. If someone's unwilling to email you and communicate through a normal method, guess what? They weren't really interested to begin with. As business owners, we have to get good at sorting through qualified leads, correct? I mean, we get tons of leads, but only a handful of them are qualified who actually go through and make a purchase. So, I mean, for me, to make my life less crazy and to make communicating more effective, I've resolved that they send me a PM, I give them my email address, or they can send me a Hangout. Those are the only 2 communication methods I use for all my clients, and it works beautifully. If they're interested, they do. If they're semi-interested, I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to waste my time.
If they're interested, they will contact you. That's the point.
Right, exactly.
So
I think the last thing we do is to again, further complicate the Google Plus ecosystem with yet another inbox.
Yeah. I can search for posts that include my name. I mean, I guess I do admit I have it much easier than the average person because I know my name, my surname. I'm literally there's actually one other Harasewych. He's my cousin in Ukraine, but I'm the only person with my name in the world. Andrij Harasewych. I am completely unique to everyone, and it's so I can search my name and I find every post of mine.
And you are unique in so many other ways, Andrew.
Oh,
Thank you.
Save
me for doing it. Yes.
But yeah, it's so I admit it's been a little easier on me as far as searching for posts, things like that. Like I don't come across these problems as much. So maybe one of you guys can. I know there's another Dustin Stout. I came across him.
If I could answer Scott's question though, I think that because I've run into this before too, and thankfully, I think Stepan brought up this a while back about there's Google Plus search in itself is actually pretty powerful. It's gotten a lot better over the year. But I think there's two different ways that you can do it. The first way to do it is to just do a search of your name and the spelling of that person's name that you have a private conversation with.
Yeah.
If you do that search and then you switch over to posts in the search, and then you will see all posts that you and that person have been in. So you'll see, if you've commented together in the same kind of post, or that private post will show up. I think to make that methodology even better, let's say you're contacting a lot of people every single day with private posts. Another thing that you could do is you could designate your own hashtag for that post-type conversation. So it could be Scott Scowcroft sales, and that's the hashtag. Or,
I never thought of that.
Yeah, do something like that, and that way now
And utilize exact searches as well.
Right.
That is an awesome point. Yeah. But I was gonna say, as far as when you search your name, use quotation marks around your name so that it's No, you'd say no, or I'd say at least around one of the names. I found that helps.
I don't know if you have you found that helps? I haven't tried.
I found it helps because if you have, let's say you have two names, both with like a first name of Ben and Dave, you're gonna find other stuff that I may have commented on that has another Ben or Dave and a Fisher, but they're different people named Ben and Dave and Fisher, and you have to tie it somehow together. But Google, again, is a very powerful platform. I highly recommend you do Power Searching with Google. Google Power Searching with Google. It's a free course. It's about advanced searching for Google, and it teaches you how to search. It teaches you everything you need to know about using all the Google extra little tools, how to use keywords to find exactly what you want, and it has saved me a year. I would say a year of damn time because of just finding information that much faster.
Yeah, there's a ton of good infographics out there too, with all the operators that can be used with just Google search and Google. I guess it all applies to Google Plus search.
This isn't just marketing. This is anyone in any business. When I was an engineer and I'd have my manager, I'd hear him. I shared an office with my manager, and I'd hear him behind my back. Talk. He talked to himself a lot when he was trying to think of something. And he would say an acronym, and he's like, I can't figure it out. Just Google the damn thing. And I reported to him, and he's like, wow, how'd you figure? You can become a source of information if you know how to search better than other people. You'll have everything at your fingertips. The information is there. Just need to know how to find it. My headphone keeps popping out.
So Andrew, people should start contacting you to say, hey, will you search Google for me?
I will teach you how to. Oh my God, it's like when people ask questions in the community that are so easily searchable, and thanks to Google's newer search features that put more relevant, better content above, you don't have to focus on a personal recommendation for a blog post to read about semantic search. You can Google semantic search, and you'll see a post from Dave and from Mark from at the top of the list that you can just read, and then come back with that information and ask questions based on that information and expand on it, or shift it, present it differently, and write a new blog post. That's
I get client prospect calls from people, and they'll say, so can you tell us how to do SEO for, and then they'll fill in a content management system, ATG, and I'll say, sure, I could do that, and then I'll type in ATG SEO, click on the first link, and I'll start reading them the various steps. And by the way, we've been doing this for 5 years. We've done 17 installations. No, I don't make up stuff, but well, actually now we're a big enough company that there probably are people who have done it elsewhere in the company, but I just wasn't involved. So, but that's the point. You can really get these answers very quickly, and that's what's marvelous about these things too, right? Because now it's everywhere.
Yeah, that's what's great about iPhones.
Yeah. But not to downplay any of our jobs or positions, but if you have the time, this is something you can do yourself. The information is there. Like Eric said, you need to learn how to do SEO. You can learn how to do it. It's not. You don't have to learn another language. Well, you know, if you're programming, but you don't have to learn Japanese to be able to do this. It's
Right.
easy.
But it's the same reason someone hires a translator, right? To speak Japanese for them, so they don't have to spend 3 years learning it.
Exactly. There are situations you can afford it.
It comes back to time, right? I mean, coming back to that portion of the discussion, it comes back to time. Why do people hire people to do SEO? Why do people hire companies like ourselves to do, you know, manage their Google Plus presence, you know, writing, etc., web design? It all comes down to time. How much time do you want to spend with your customers? How much time do you want to spend in your business? How much time do I want to spend learning SEO?
Also, how much time should you spend? Like, there's different reasons that certain businesses are good for bigger agencies, and certain businesses need a single professional, and some businesses need to hire a new employee that works for them, that is their guy. You know, it's not someone outsourced. It's certain companies. It would be very helpful to have someone in your building at the time, taking pictures of you working during the day, going out. If you're a construction company, going out to sites, taking pictures, you know, making a GIF of a crane loading some crazy awesome thing on a building. Like, why is that not out there? I mean, look at what Lowe's is doing with Vines. You know, if you have a team, you know, they're probably a large agency, but it's probably an internal team. It's not someone outsourced. It's them doing it, and they're doing a damn decent job of it.
or it really looks like them doing it, and they actually have an agency doing it.
Well, maybe that is the case. Right. But I did want to tie Lowe's into there because we were going to talk about a little visual graphics and stuff, but I do really like their Vines. You know, I was walking through Lowe's the other day, and they have a console set up like follow us on Vine, and they have their Vines on an autoplay.
Right.
So they're tying the in-store interactions to the app. Which is
just on that note alone, I think I was listening to Jay Baer's podcast. Shout out to Jay Baer. His podcast, Social Pros, the podcast for real people doing real work in social media. Love that tagline. But I think they actually did interview the guy from Lowe's, the head of social engagement or something of that nature. I probably butchered his title. But they do actually do that in-house. That's one of their in-house things. Somebody in-house thought of that. And I thought it was a fascinating story. Such a great way to give value and be creative at the same time. A creative way to give value in 6 seconds. Gosh, that's so, man, so much respect for their team over there at Lowe's.
And if they are smart and are listening today, when shoppable Hangouts become a thing, if they could do a Hangout showing them doing a project, and as they're doing the project, they can sell the tools and sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's what people are looking for, right? It's not just about selling. It's about giving people the value they're looking for. They're looking to do a DIY project, and this is totally going off tangent, by the way, but you know, if people are looking for how to do a DIY project, they don't want to just know how to do it. They need to know the tools that they need and where to get those tools. And so Hangouts on there would be a great tool for someone like Lowe's, or that's why Vines work so good, because they're showing the tools that they use to do these projects.
Right.
By the way, by my count, Dustin, you need to take at least 8 drinks because of the way you just used that word. Yes.
My water's all gone, so I need to call out.
Replace it with push-ups. It's been over 20 minutes anyway.
You're right back. So I think we hit that one pretty good and had a good tangent on that. We're getting close to the end of the show here, but Andrew, what was the last thing we wanted to talk about? I see you have a cat in the background.
I was actually pretending I was frozen because I didn't know what to talk about, so I wanted you to think my video died. No, but there was something that happened.
Are there any more questions in the audience?
We do have the amazing Dustin UFO cat. UFO kitty.
Mark Harris wants to know the differences between Hootsuite, Buffer, and Sprout Social.
Okay, well, the last time I used Buffer, they're just for scheduling, not monitoring and maintenance, but I think they might have changed, maybe? Because Hootsuite is not just posting, but also monitoring, responding.
It's funny, I'm actually doing a comprehensive study on social media management tools, and I'm covering primarily Hootsuite, Buffer, Sprout Social. There's a few others that I'm considering, but and depending on all these tests that I'm doing, I may just focus on a few. But the primary difference, okay, so the big allure for Buffer in the beginning was the fact that you can find an optimal time and schedule ahead of time. It's dead simple to add a bunch of stuff to what they call your queue, and it'll, gosh, I'm all about air quotes today. This is the Dustin of the week, air quotes. So you had a queue in Buffer, and you can add things to your queue, and it will automatically tweet out or post out, depending on what network, at certain times throughout the day. And Hootsuite was both not only a scheduling for multiple platforms at once, but you could also manage, whereas you can monitor mentions, you can monitor your feed, you can reply to messages, you can send DMs through Hootsuite. So it was sort of an all-in-one management, whereas Buffer was more of a scheduling posts, and that was it. Recently, Buffer came out with, well, not so recently, they've had it for a while, but analytics. You can get click-through analytics, how many click-throughs you're getting, your potential reach. They do have more of an analytics interface. It's actually really good as well. Hootsuite, I believe, also has analytics. So they are kind of, same features, but Hootsuite does offer that extra layer of monitoring and being able to reply. Within Buffer, you cannot reply to messages.
Hootsuite has some cool add-on apps too. You can add on Gmail, schedule emails from Hootsuite. You can add on Google Analytics, so you not only have the social media aspect of the analytics, but you see all your web analytics in one place. I have nothing but good things to say about Hootsuite. I don't use it enough. Again, this is my month of productivity. I'm trying to get organized, get going with a new company, new home. Yeah. But that's one tool I'm definitely going to be using.
The thing that both Buffer and Hootsuite have in common is that they do have freemium models where you can use the apps for free, and unless you're managing several different business accounts or page accounts, the free version of the app is pretty significant for most people.
And does Friends
Sprout have a free as well?
Sprout Social, as far as I know, it has a 14-day free trial.
Right. Okay.
To really get the best, it's only paid version, and it is the most expensive out of all of them. Now, what I will say about Sprout, to their benefit, is they are the most comprehensive. Their analytics are phenomenal. The interface is beautiful. Everything about it is just gorgeous as far as design and user interface goes. But they have the monitoring. You can reply. You can schedule. And it has team collaboration tools, which Hootsuite and Buffer also have, but not nearly as comprehensive.
Right.
Sprout Social pretty much knocks all of them out of the water from a business perspective if you have multiple, if you need something at that scale.
If I remember correctly, though, the thing that I really didn't like about Sprout was the fact that you have to pay such an egregious amount if you want to do custom reports.
Yeah, it is. It's a heavy price tag, so it's only encouraged for businesses. Now,
I understand
actually, by the way, goes up as high as $1,500 a month depending on how you're using it for enterprise level. But by the way, the free trial looks like it's 30 days. I just checked it out while you were.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used up my free trial a long time ago, so I've been having to find interesting ways to find out the free trial benefits now. It's a great tool, but most people will not have the pockets deep enough to use it for what they need it for, and most people won't need something that comprehensive.
Quick question: the Friends Plus Me, do they still have the freemium for just a few accounts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so that's a tool that I use. I have the Pro account, on the unlimited, but I use that one in combination with Hootsuite. Hootsuite for the monitoring, but since I love Google Plus so much, I do like to center real interaction around Google Plus. Plus, seeing what Facebook is planning on doing or just doing with reducing reach for schedulers. I think real interaction, the real time use is going to come into play at some point. We'll see. But I generally do like the real interaction versus the scheduled. But it's you have to make your decisions. It's like I said, make sacrifices in some places to meet other time and objectives. So we are coming to an end here. I wanted to mention next week we will be having Wade Harmon on to talk to us about relationships and a few other topics as well. And we'll also be having Avtar Ram Singh from he's a moderator in our community, and he's going to be talking about the social media quiz that I linked in the event page below, and it's also found in the community. It's a fun quiz that allows you to kind of compare your results with other marketers around the globe. Just to note, it does have a Facebook login. I know for those of us that have our feelings about that platform, it's a frequently commented thing. The one thing that Facebook has going for it is with that login, they can get the information they need to be able to compare people to see where they're using it from, to see who they are. Well, not who they I don't think they see personal details, but they're able to compare the demographics, and that was important to them. That's the purpose. So we have to give them some leeway in using that, at least until Google gives
at least there's a business
some more options.
Reason for it, so that makes sense.
So and maybe things like that will motivate Google to also fix up their API that we can get that information as well, and we shall see.
Actually, the problem isn't with getting the information from the API, because most of it's accessible pretty readily. But what we found out is the majority of users just don't fill out the information.
Okay, so it's just more reliable over time. Okay, that's fine. That's understandable. I'm not a programmer, so I don't know. But thank you guys for coming in. I guess Dustin can close out because he's the account today. He's social media. So.
Sure. Well, as always, you can reach us through our various social media communities: social media strategy, social media professionals, creative social media discussion, and you can always reach out to us on Google Plus for any questions that you have. We love getting topics and questions that we can discuss every Sunday in our social media hangout. And gentlemen, I will bid you adieu and tell you all that we'll be here this time, same bat channel, same bat place, and have an awesome week. We'll see you soon.
Do the Dustin.
Do the Dustin of the week.
Bye.